workforce planning should be done. So basically, we do the planning. Uh, we actually want to look for people with the right skills. Yeah, when we do advertisement, when we do job, when we open for job openings, we actually looking at specific skills. So that's why when we open jobs, do advertisement, we actually looking for people or employees with the right skills. What do we mean by the right skill? So this is what we learn in chapter 4, job analysis. And from chapter 4, job analysis, at the end of the day, we came up with job specification. That job specification, there are skills needed, skills required. So when we do workforce planning, we actually looking for the right skills, position attached to the skills. Yeah. So it is because of the skills, and we need to have identify the position. And then this workforce planning, and before we go for advertisement, job openings, recruitment and selection, yeah, until we have better, a good job workforce planning, we can proceed with recruitment and selection. And workforce planning is also an integral part of strategic planning process. Chapter 3, we talk about strategic management plans. So this workforce planning is also part of that. Yeah. In forecast personnel needs of our organization, there are three ways, yeah, three approaches that we can use. By using these three approaches, at the end of the day, we know how many employees need to be recruited. We do not simply do a job advertisement to get as many people as possible. Yeah, of course, we have the fixed numbers. We have the identified numbers. So how actually a company, an organization, identify the number of employees? So basically, there are three approaches. The first one is trend analysis. What is trend analysis? Basically, a company or an organization will look at the past 6 months, months or years. It is actually, the idea is to come up with the average or best analysis. So over a period of years, the variation recruitment did take place. So based on that, the trends analysis, we can estimate how many vacancies that we are going to advertise. Especially people or organizations when they open a new branch, yeah, when they open a new factories. I'm not referring to when you have one or two posts. I'm referring to when an organization establish new branch, or they open a new factories. They require quite big numbers of employees. I'm referring to that. So for that particular purpose, we can refer to the trend analysis on how actually we do the recruitment. We open for how many numbers of employees for the past 6 years, for example. And then the second one is ratio analysis. This ratio analysis depend on how many volumes of products, of course, the products that are going to sell, for example. So knowing the numbers, so we can predict the quantities to equal the quantities of the volume to equal the numbers of employees. So this is based on using historical ratios. So again, using past 6 months, past 6 years. Based on that historical ratios, companies, the organization can use this approach as well. And the last one, scatter plot. So this scatter plot is more like a graphical method of identifying how many employees should we employ. So in order in order to explain this scatter plot, I will show you this is the number of registered nurses. So let's say a particular organization or the government want to establish or build a new hospital. So in order to build the new hospital, of course, require some uh, nurses, for example. Maybe another instance is how many doctors they are required. Another instance, how many supporting staff they are required. But for this example, I use same example in the books, in which if the new hospital is built, and then how many nurses should be employed, should be. So what happened here? It is the scatter plot. Look at the dot here, all these dots. These dots are what we call scatter plots. From these dots, yeah, for example, for I don't know how many nurses here did not mention. This is the dot, and then it increase the numbers accordingly. So what happened when we uh, want to identify how many employees, we draw a straight line, yeah, from the bottom, straight line, more or less to the distance between the dot, left and right dot, yeah. So more or less, at the end of the day, the line will end at one point here. So the dot, all this dot is predicted to meet at this point here. So at this point, we will know how many nurses, yeah, should be employed for the hospital with 1,200 beds. Yeah, I forgot to mention this earlier. The hospital has 1,200 beds. So how many nurses need to be employed? So based on using scatter plot, so we know that we need 1,210 nurses need to be available in the field. So this is scatter plot, and by looking at this scatter plot, we have trend analysis, ratio analysis. It seems that scatter plot is most reliable. Yeah, most reliable because we compare the volume with the ready materials. But however, it depends on what sort of what sort of works actually involved and the nature of the works. Maybe for finding the numbers for nurses it is according to the beds, yeah. But others nature of work maybe is not possible using scatter plot. But at the end of the day, Dessler, the authors for the book that we refer to, uh, said that despite of having trend analysis, ratio analysis, or scatter plot, at the end of the day, sometimes it is difficult. Yeah, sometimes it is difficult. Which approach is the best approach. What happens is, at the end of the day, according to Dessler, it is at the judgment of the manager himself. Yeah, managers. I mean, I'm referring to the employer. They have to pick the best approach, not only depending on the analysis, ratio analysis, or scatter plot. It is the flexibility of the managers to choose how many to recruit. The reason because sometimes recruitment to be done according to the intention of the organization to enhance the quality. So when they want to enhance the quality, maybe they don't want to choose or to recruit numbers as proposed by scatter plot or trend analysis or ratio analysis, because maybe the lesser the better, for example. So they won't go for the maximum numbers. And sometimes, because of the technologies, technology enable one person to handle many works. So this is also the factor why uh, the scatter plot, trend analysis, or ratio analysis is not as flexible as managerial adjustment, yeah, because of the technology and administrative changes. And last one, the reason why manager adjustment is above all, above the trend analysis, ratio analysis, and scatter plot, because of maybe the company, the organization, they are just started, they have so many capitals, they want to just, recruit as many employees as possible. So again, when they do have this capability, there won't be, depending on the ratio analysis, trend analysis of scatter plot.